Mode. Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to the webinar today. Today, we're going to talk about the surface and fireproof fire tests. And while we wait for those to log on, we still have a couple of minutes. We've invited Derek Eklum from Foundation, and Foundation is our parent company, and he's going to just share some product news for just a couple minutes. So I'm going to pass it over to Derek.
All right, thanks, Tammy. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I won't take up too much of your time, and I apologize. I've been battling a cold, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay. But yeah, I work for Foundation, and I handle anytime one of our customers is interested in additional product that we have to offer. And today, I just want to kind of give you guys just a real high-level overview of what we have on the project management side, which is Foundation's HQ Suite, which is primarily, well, there's three different parts to it. The main part is called Project HQ, which is document management. So this screen here would be kind of a home page for a project manager where you'd be able to see your most recent jobs, documents, different scheduled tasks, action items, weather conditions. But the idea as a project manager is you can drill into a project, and then from a screen like this, you can create and manage all kinds of different documents, daily logs, AIA billings, RFIs and submittals, punch lists, change orders, purchase orders and subcontracts. And the whole concept is you're able to not only create the documents, but email them directly out of here. So this would integrate directly with your Outlook or Gmail or whatever email account that you have that you're using. And you can always design your own custom templates. There's also a document storage, you know, for files, pictures, drawings that's involved here, unlimited. We don't charge by storage, size or anything like that. There's a markup and annotation tool that's built right within it. So yeah, Project HQ is really all about document management. And then the two other pieces that are part of our platform, one is a reporting tool. It's called Executive HQ. Now that is one that you would definitely need to have the accounting system, which is called Foundation Software, in order to use, because that's where it pulls all of its cost and billing information. And then a third part, it's called Crew HQ, which is a scheduling tool. So if you're looking for an easy way to maybe replace a whiteboard that you might have out there in the shop or office, you can create and manage your schedules here, assign out employees and other resources if you get into equipment or inventory tracking. And then it's going to kick out a email or a text notification out to the different people there at your organization that are involved in the task. So that would be kind of the main idea behind Crew HQ. But yeah, the overall product or platform is called Foundation's HQ Suite. And if you are interested in, in the market, I guess, for a new project management software, feel free to reach out and we'd be happy to help. So I appreciate it, guys. Like I said, I wasn't going to take up too much of your time. I'm going to pass this back over to Juan now, and he will lead you through the rest of the webinar here today.
Thanks so much, Derek. Before we get going, I'm just going to go over a couple housekeeping items. So today's session is going to be recorded, and you will receive that recording within a day, and that will come from an email from GoToWebinar. Sometimes it gets stuck in your spam, so just if it's in your junk folder, you can also go there, or I'll post it on our YouTube playlist. All lines have been muted today, but we encourage you to ask questions. Our moderator, Mike Mao, is standing by to answer any questions. And simply to ask a question, just use that questions window. And then lastly, at the end of the webinar, a pop-up window is going to appear with just 4-question survey. And it's really important to us because we're starting to build out next year's topics for the webinars. And I really take all your feedback and use that to shape whatever topics we're going to provide for next year. So we got some exciting topics coming up, but your feedback is super important. So I'm going to get started and pass that over to JP.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Derek. So, hi, my name is JP. I'm one of the specialties here, trainer specialties here at The Edge. Thank you for tuning in into this webinar today. As you will see, this will be a short yet very informative video. Today we will learn how to adjust the fire test and even create a surface. Now remember, If you have any questions throughout the webinar, feel free to write those under the questions field. It's located on the menu that you have on your under the GoToWebinar screen. And it should be located on the lower part where you just have to click on it and it will expand. So let's begin. It might happen that sometimes you may notice that the fire tests need some adjustments, or you simply want to verify the information you have on the edge. When we created this fire test, we did our very best to supply the information and put the most applicable thickness, leaning toward the conservative side. We did not put every variance from the UL book. So I'll show you how you can clarify and verify the fire test that you will be handling on your project. This is very simple to do. So I'm using a CAFCO 300 floor calcs condition for this example. Next, we need to go to the condition properties for this condition. So I can either double click on the name or I can click the edit icon. Perfect. Now I'm looking at the condition properties for this calcs condition. I can see the fire test for any type of steel I might be using, their hours, and we have the calculations set to net. This is important as I will be talking a lot from this type of calculation on this webinar. So in order to look at the fire test, first we need to click on the blue square next to this type of steel that you're going to be using. In this case, I'll choose the primary beam. I will make this longer so we can see everything that's going on in the background. I will refer the left side as the fire test section and the right side as the test beam section. As you can see here, we have landed on the N759 fire test for lightweight, normal weight corrugated. That's where we clicked on it. And we have all of the other fire tests available. You could search for any fire test that you might want to see, or you can simply scroll up and down. And then once you click on it once, it will show the test beam information on the right side. All right, so I'll talk about on the left side, we can see that the test beam that it's used on the right side, I'm sorry, we can see the test beam that is used, it's WD, and the thickness says for any given hour. So these are the hours that we have. To edit this information, it's very simple. We click on the edit icon. So here we can see the thicknesses for the hours that we have. To change this, it's very simple. We just click on it and we can simply type in the inches or the fraction value of that. Just like that. If you need to change, just type in the correct thicknesses and hit save. What happens if you need to change the hours as well, apply to this fire test? I will show you how to change that in a second. So let me just close this screen. I'm going to hit cancel. I will move to the left side. So in this case, for the fire test itself, not the test beam, I'm going to click on the edit icon. And this opens another window as well. I'm going to make sure that it's the net showing. I'm going to click on the edit icon. And this opens another window. At a first glance, we can see some of the properties for this fire test. We can see the code, its description, manufacturer, the type of steel it's being used in. Moving to the formulas tab. When you have the calculations set as net, the edge will first look into the test beam and see if the code of the test beam matches with the code of the steel you are using in your project. If it does, it will give you the thickness that is attached to the hourly rate that you have placed. If it doesn't, then it goes to this formula tab. It inputs the variables in the formula to mathematically produce the thickness. That's how the edge is working. Then I'll click on the hour rating. This is where you can adjust the hours. You can add or take away any hours that you might want to see. Hit cancel. So how is the person who's looking into this fire test going to know that they have inspected and made sure they're updated and correct? Well, what we suggest, I'm going to click on the edit icon again. Under the general tab, under the manufacturer field, you can put your name and the date that you have inspected. So let's say that we have inspected it today. I'm just going to put P and today's date. And then I'll click save. And make sure it's under the manufacturer field, because if it's under the description, this will populate in some of the reports, whereas the manufacturer will not. So I'm clicking save and I can see what we have edited. So I'm going forward, I can be sure that I have looked into it and I have verified that all the information is correct. All right, so I will close this window. Let me go into the columns fire test database just to highlight some differences. Again, I will click on the blue square to go into the fire test database. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. At a first glance, we can see that multiple test beams are being used. And I'm going to click on the edit icon for the fire test section and go into the formulas. Using the net calculations, again, like I mentioned before, the edge will try to find an exact match of the code of the steel surface you're using with the code of the test beam. If not, it will revert to this formula. Now, in some cases, if you're using the same pipe, tube, or column, but a different process of measurement, let's say count or length, and you notice a slight difference in thickness, it might be due to this process. So if that's the case, please give us a call and we will work with you to edit your database so it will provide you the same thicknesses across the job. All right, so let me close this window. So what happens if you need a fire test that it's not in your database? Then you will need to create it. And this is a very simple process. I'm going to go ahead and click on the blue square again so we can go to the database. Make this large. And I can start adding the fire test by simply clicking the plus icon. But this will make me create, here I'm gonna click the plus icon, create everything from scratch, which why do I need to recreate the wheel? So what I can do is I can first find a fire test that is close, that is similar, and I'll click on the copy and insert icon. So I'll do that, then change the necessary information. I will edit the code since the code has to be unique. The description, obviously, put my initials to it under the manufacturer, change the hours if needed. And once it's correct, here, let me just change the code. I'll just put C1 and change the description. Just that, save. Nope, that was used before. Save. So that's my C2. Once it's created, then we can go to the test beam section and we can edit the thicknesses for the hours. It's as simple as that. this will lead me to two side notes, two things that I want to mention. First, let me go back to the code itself of the original one, this one. This is the original one that we had. If we were to change the code itself, let's say that we have edited, we didn't create a new fire test, we're just going to edit, and we want to change the code, it's not advisable, because if the code changes for all projects that you might have used this fire test, it will try to match the same code, and since you cannot find it, it will give the thicknesses, it will apply a thicknesses of 0, unless it was the thickness was overridden. But another example would be that they recently released an updated saying that lightweight and normal weight will have different variances. So you could be enticed to just edit the original one, change the code on this one just to display lightweight, and then obviously hit save, do the copy and insert, and then do for normal weight. But in that case, it will follow the same thing. The edge will try to look for the code for older jobs, and it will not find. So in that case, since we have covered how to create a new fire test, I would suggest just do a copy and insert twice, one for the lightweight and one for the normal weight with the respective codes. That way they're new and it will not affect previous. And the second thing that I want to mention is that if you have edited some information on the thicknesses and you see that it's not being applied immediately in your job, then just go back to the scenarios breadcrumb, check in the project, and check it back out, so the fire test will refresh with the current updated information. Perfect, so I'll just close everything, hit cancel. So as you see, it was very simple to edit the fire test and even create a new one. So now we can talk about the surfaces. I'm going to go into the database breadcrumb at the upper right side. Just click on it once, and then I'll go to the surfaces option here on the left side and double click on it. I'll just wait a couple seconds until the screen pops up. And we are under the surfaces database. Couple things on the layout. The lines that are pink, those are just titles. They're not doing any calculations in the background. You're not going to be able to use those stills, obviously. And the ones that have a white background are the ones that you can use on any given project. To edit one, simply click on the pen and paper or the edit icon in this case, and it will open the screen where it shows you the properties for that surface. And here we can edit some information. Take a look at this. If we change the weight or the thickness, I'm going to change it to 15. I'll press tab. The edge automatically calculated the WD. How cool is that? I'm going to do that again. I'll change it back to 13. Hit tab, and the edge is doing the calculations for me. And just like that, we can edit information on this steel surface. I'm going to cancel this because I don't want to change my existing surface. If you want to create a new one, again, you can press the plus icon. You can create one from scratch, but you might not want to do that. You want to save some time and hassle. So in that case, just click on the copy and insert icon. And here we have to give it a unique code. We're going to give it, of course, the description of the new surface and input the necessary information. Just like that, we can create a new surface. And like you have seen, this webinar is very simple, but very informative. Thank you very much for tuning in into this webinar. Make sure to leave your questions if you had any so we can follow up on those questions, or simply call us so we can talk more in depth about these topics. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks everybody for joining today, and have a great Friday.